My name is Genevieve. I'm a paleoanthropologist and rock art researcher, and I'm here today answering more questions for the Q&A series of Cave Art 101 with World of Paleoanthropology. Today's question is right up my alley. I mean, well, they all are, but even more so than normal. This is from Harvey, and Harvey wanted to know about the database. So is there a database that currently exists he wanted to know about geometric signs and figurative art, and he wanted to know how big is it, how widespread is it, what's going on with it, because it seems like a pretty cool tool. So the short answer is, I have a database of geometric signs that I've been sort of trying to figure out how to best deploy and share with the world in like what form on the internet, how I want to do it. I have some colleagues who also have databases of different things. So there's a great one out of Germany where they've done a database of the marks that are on all those wonderful figurines that come out of the Swabian Jura region. So these are the sort of 40,000-ish ivory figurines, like the lion head on the man's body, or the some of those animals, and they have like rows of lines and X's and things like that. So that is actually a database that does exist right now, but it's only for the portable artifacts. And I believe there's a couple others floating around, but nothing definitive, right? And so this is where the more I was sort of thinking about what to do, the more, well, first of all, it's two things. So first of all, the idea that the geometric signs, I mean, in all likelihood, they're probably not all like this, you know, nice cohesive group of symbols like we're looking at an alphabet. It's more likely to be kind of this loose grouping where some things are related to other things and some are completely unrelated. Say some could be hunting imagery, some could be related to shamanism, some could be related to counting, and yet we've stuck them all in the same box, which is not the best way to compare and contrast. So I think in that sense, at least some of the geometric signs are probably real world objects, just like the animals or the humans, which are currently the other two categories we have for cave art. So I think that Harvey is right when he's asking about having a database with everything in it. I think that probably is really the way to go, just because in the long run, the art really is all part of the same culture, it's part of the same tradition. Just because we split it up a certain way in the 21st century doesn't mean people saw it that way tens of thousands of years ago during the Ice Age. I think honestly, Harvey, what we need is a global level database that would allow us to look at huge macro patterns between regions, between continents, across time, across space. And so that is actually where I am aiming, is to see if we can get together all of these different sources and then start to create this one location where everybody could go. Almost like a seed vault, if you will, for like ancient culture, which would be incredibly cool to have all in one spot. And it would be an amazing resource then for any researcher or a interested member of the public such as yourself who might want to come and take a look at it and play around with some of the imagery and see what's where. So that's kind of the long-term vision. I have recognized though that is a pretty ambitious goal, and so it might take me a little bit to do, but it is in motion. I have been starting to talk to other people and think about how to make that reality. So stay tuned. You also did ask about volunteer opportunities, and at this point it's really tough because it can be so hard to get access to the caves, right? And even when you do, the number of people you can take in is often very restricted. But there's some open air sites in some places where it could be possible, myself and some of my colleagues, we've actually talked about the idea that it would be pretty cool in the future if we were able to bring some folks with us when we were working in the field, just because it would be a great way to combine doing some science outreach with doing the research at the same time. So maybe in a country, for instance, I also sometimes work in, say, Jordan in the Middle East, and there the rock art is external, so it's on the outside, it's open air, and so that way you're not running into the same restrictions or issues when it comes to how many people can you have in a enclosed space with everybody breathing and potentially damaging the art. So also possible in the future. Great question. And you also mentioned in your note that you had used the signs and the art as inspiration for a book you're working on. So that is so wonderful to hear. I am always so thrilled when I see the research that I'm doing sort of being deployed out into the world and inspiring other people with their research and their passions. So I'm so thrilled to hear that, and maybe we'll get to see the book in the future. So thank you for the great questions, Harvey.